Hello, beautiful souls. I wanted to make a video to explain a bit about what's occurring with this awakening journey for those of you who might have some questions about what's actually going on. And feel free to share this with anybody that you feel may benefit. So basically what's happening is our higher self, when we have our awakening, our higher self is merging with this human vessel. And so this can be planned and could be occurring since birth, or you can be a walk-in, which is what I believe has happened to me. After my near-death experience, I believe that when I woke up, after that experience of experiencing the true self, things were very, very different. And so what actually happens then is it would be nice if we could just then walk around as the true self, as just the pure essence of infinity, but that's obviously not why we're here. So when we come in to this human vessel, more often than not, in fact, pretty much always, there is already things that have occurred within that life. So within the human experience. So traumas, people leaving, people dying, accidents, illness, you name it, operations. So there's nothing we can actually do about changing any of that or about regretting any of that. Basically, the goal that we're here for is to allow ourselves, our higher self, our true self, to be able to embody itself within this human vessel. And how does that happen? Well, because this is made of such high frequency light, it means that all of the distortions and the lower vibrational energies within the human vessel need to be released, let go of, dissolved, sorted through, transcended. And this is what we call karma. And there's numerous ways that you can resolve karma. It's not quite as extreme, in my personal opinion, as it was previously. Well, it's not so much on my timeline that I'm currently in at the moment. However, it is painful because what has occurred in this human vessel and from lifetimes, ancestral, if you've been chosen to be one that's awakened, you've actually agreed to take on that role and responsibility within that line and within your journey to receive the knowledge and the wisdom that's coming from this human experience. So if you're a walk-in like me, and if not, whatever the soul contract you've agreed to is part of this journey of clearing out this vessel. Now, how can I explain this in another way just to make sure that you understand? The clearing out of the vessel is basically allowing more light to come in, and as it does, it shines on the part of us, on those parts of us that have been hidden away in the dark. And so these are parts that we got shamed when we were younger, and we turned away from that part of ourselves. Say you always used to be really, really funny, and then you cracked a joke and you got in big trouble and it just locked that part away from you, and you lost all your humor. Those parts are still within you. They've just gone into the darkness. into the shadow self. Now, this is why when we talk about the shadow, it's not necessarily a negative thing. It's not an evil thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just parts of us that we have turned away from because we've rejected them in some way. And more often than not, it's because someone or something has made us feel like we are wrong to be that way, that we shouldn't be that way. So as we make our way through life, when we come up against things, say opportunities or even passions, things that we're passionate about and are drawing us forward into a specific direction, which is more often than not the soul, the higher self pulling us forward in the direction, if it just seems to be happening, these parts can be highlighted and put in the limelight. And because they haven't had light for perhaps most of your life, they're going to feel really scary. They're going to trigger off all sorts of alarms. You could be using past lives. You could be using energetic triggers to protect nobody getting to these parts. And so when you're being pulled in the direction of where your higher self is leading you to go, and these parts get lit up, it can feel very painful. It's like almost reliving the wound over again. Now, when this happens, we have a choice, and this isn't easy to begin with. And that choice is that we can allow ourselves to completely expand into that hidden experience, into that shadow part of ourself, and we can allow it with love to be seen and heard exactly how it is. See, most times we have rejected these parts because before our body learnt that a bad thing happened when we last did this, when we last expressed ourselves in this way. So therefore it shunned it and said, oh, we can't use that part of ourselves because something bad happened last time. So when these things are brought up, these are the triggers. So when these things are brought up, the best thing we can do is sit with ourselves and just allow ourselves to breathe into our body and nod and smile at these feelings that are arising because they feel rejected. They feel like they can't be expressed. They feel like they've been locked away. We haven't heard them crying. We haven't heard them screaming all these years because we've blocked them off. And so what they need from us is our love and acceptance for exactly who they are. And when that happens, that enables that part to integrate back, which therefore brings the shadow part into the light, which enables the higher self to be more embodied into the human form. Now, when this embodiment occurs, it's a continuous journey. It's going to bring up more and more stuff because the more light you bring in, the more it lights up the shadow self. So a very, very good method, if you're getting to this point and finding it quite difficult, is to remember that the true essence of you is the higher self, is source, is the soul, is the infinite being of absolute unconditional love. And knowing that when these painful things arise, they are parts of this human form. They are parts of this shadow self. They are parts of this conditioning in this being that you are encompassing, that you are entering in. And so some people don't like the idea of that sort of separation of I'm the witnesser. And that's okay. You can be you. That's totally fine. So in this description, it kind of allows you to be both ways. Because even though you're the higher self and this is the human, this is Jody, the higher self is merging into be one with Jody so that the higher self can allow its vibrational medicine to come through Jody and to bring that light and love into the planet and to allow other people to be able to do the same. And so when we can get to that point where we see we aren't two separate beings, we are one, we are able to merge in together, and then we can truly allow our innate gifts to come forward to be able to assist humanity, to be able to assist in the healing of the planet, to be able to fulfill our purpose here and our mission. So I hope this gives a bit of an idea. I'm happy if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, because I'm really feeling to do more of these types of videos, a little bit of an explanation about what's kind of occurring in this way. So just knowing that when you're experiencing these negative energies or negative feelings, they are just shadow parts of us that we have turned away from. And the fact that you're experiencing them is because you are pulling in more light and it's allowing them to be seen. And until they can be seen, heard, felt, and accepted and loved back into wholeness, we're not going to be able to take in any more light. Thank you so much. I hope this helped. See ya.